first stop on Memory Way, Romsey Abbey. There used to be heaps of us would literally walk up from the school. A great train. There's another building over there which I think was kind of reserved for us Catholics. And I'll keep the camera out and I'll hop in the hybrid and follow the route I used to walk home and walk back. This is a railway bridge we used to come over. It's well familiar. There's a back lane to Roke Manor. In fact, let's go up that way. This was a familiar running route. I used to come out the back of the school and run down here. What wonderful lanes these are. To run through down these lanes of the Sprog, and Stanbridge Earls is in there. That is probably Stanbridge Earls land now, what we're looking at. Great big country house and field. Is there anything in there? Just glimpses of buildings. I'm watching the roads, I don't know what I'm taking pictures of. This is the famous Roke Manor. They've got a fancy sign up now, and that there's the back entrance into Stanbridge Earls. Look at these wonderful places. Surrounding grounds of Stanbridge Earls. Woohoo! Remember a steep hill. Remember a bit of a steep hill. Just after I last turned the camera off, where I say I remember a steep hill, there's a road sign said Albridge Hill, and all this is a bit definitely familiar. I remember hills, whizzing up and down them on the bicycle. T-junction soon. Lane. Yeah, quite a steep hill this. It won't show up on camera. But yeah, I remember kind of steep hill. I remember charging down it when we'd come out of school for a run. I recognise that fella quite distinctly. Because every time I see the tennis player Rodolphe and Nadal, I think, I remember someone from school like that, and there he is there. That I believe is Richard Penwell, I'm not sure. That might be Roland Lloyd, and I'm looking for his younger brother Stephen. That I believe there is Rupert Devereux. Quite distinctive looking chappy. So I think that's from my year. And if you can see there, that bearded chappie is the best woodwork teacher you could ever have. He was called John Larter. I think that guy there might be Mr. Reese, maths teacher. Yeah, I can't really make much else out on that photo. It's a bit fine and a bit faded. But I think I'm in there somewhere. That might be my year, actually. Familiar faces. No, it might be a reflection. With the schoolmaster on the end, the guy with the crutches. I remember him as Mr. Martin. I remember helping him build a radio control model glider, and he used to run around the grounds in a daft Variomatic car, because it was an automatic, because he obviously couldn't drive. He couldn't use a clutch foot. That is of that picture. I recognise the faces. Sadly offhand I can't think of any other names. Mr. Martin. Not to be confused with Mr. Chrysell, of similar appearance, who was but very sporty. Just a loo then. Take a picture of this old staircase. Pretty about the scaffolding. And our bedroom, our dormitory, was in that door there. Oh, Mr. Warren! Oh, this old staircase, whoa! Visiting the old dormitory. So this computer room is where I used to sleep.
Trythall, this is the curved ceiling.
Yeah?
What, even above that?
Even above that. If you go above
My bed was here. The head of the bed was there.
original in the sense that this time, this would have been
1650.
downstairs was cold and dark and gothic.
Right.
So they would have had this place as
The posh room.
so they could look out over the lakes and the views. So this was the drawing room in the
Original radiators.
and it would have had this
That one's here from
very posh curved ceiling.
Those windows aren't the same because we used to throw prefix out of them.
Yeah, they were sealed shut. I was trying to look for the old handles that used to. No, I remember them being open. Prefix, yeah.
Probably some by me.
It's got your name on.
Yeah. Cool. All the vandalism, the youngsters and over the past, and pen knives and goodness knows what. And that view.
So I guess part of you would have stayed in this room, yes?
Yeah, I remember this well. This used to be my bedroom.
I think it's got infection.
Had one morning, got up, very cold. We had the windows open. Aware that it was very cold, but it didn't feel cold. It just felt strangely magical. All very magical. And that was a cupboard there, and there's also a fire escape through to the next dormitory. This corridor, the whole centre of Stanbridge Earls house. Gotta remember this. Yeah. Stairs down. Laundry was here, new wall.
We used to get all our things back from the laundry.
Maths teacher used to live in the room right at the end. The old laundry, yeah.
Downstairs
The cubby holes, you can see where the
and now
cubby
it's,
holes used to be.
They moved up to maintenance so they can clear it all out.
My good, look at the job they're doing in the roof. This is a moment in Stanbridge Earls history. Look at that.
It's all down to you.
Look at this.
Arrest him.
Top corridor. Hot places in the beds. Look at that. That's a big job.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, you
This is actually a moment in the house's history itself, really,
Yes.
isn't it? What's what we're catching here?
can see how it's phenomenal like to
Yeah,
re-roof places like this, can't you?
yeah. Real question: who's paying for it? Through here. Right here.
We better oh no, they all.
And that was a dormitory.
Yeah.
I know, because I was in it. I was in it one year. Oh, it's open still. Oh, the, people's comments and graffiti. Oh, it's locked. All these safety devices and everything now they've got everywhere. That would have been a dormitory, I'm not familiar with it. But I think the first year I was here. Yeah. That's it, I've been disqualified now, I've got a digital recording device. Now, this is very familiar.
Oh, this is a bit more.
Yeah. And there used to be a flap in the wall that you could go through to the next dormitory if there was a fire.
Yes, this was, I was in here as well.
Yeah, Kirkby. I was in here. My bed was in this corner. And we had there used to be tradition to pillow fight at the end of term. And we barricaded ourselves in by putting the beds into the shape of a crucifix. Nobody could get in anywhere. And some of the older boys tried without fail. Even some tried to come through that hatch down there, which is long gone. And I remember that being well with all the little
Yes.
constellations on
Yes,
it.
it's nice to see that
It's still there, isn't it?
still there.
And these are a great view. In fact, I was slightly wrong in my bed position. It wasn't there, it was here.
Yeah.
It's there. And what a view. I mean, notwithstanding the scaffolding, what a...
Yeah.
Woohoo. This staircase. This is what I remember, this old staircase.
Is that still the notice board? We used to have this time tables up there. 360.
The new dining room, much nicer than the one we had, nasty 70s thing. Looked a bit like the building behind over there. Main house, Wellington boot room. Can't really see the main house, it's covered in steelwork. But that octagonal thing is the Wellington roof. Yeah, whole new roof, whole new refurb. Those two buildings there were the same. Amazing to think the trees had come up. There was a big tree there which I had to chop down in the end. That's this bit there right in front of me, as is. John Abraham. Oh, biology it was. Yeah, I remember John Abraham. And Townsend.
Down the back there.
And chemistry was in there.
Had a pig.
And that building had a fire escape on it, a steel fire escape. Used to be able to get in there, and that's a window. Used to be a porter cabin stood there, which I now saw earlier was tucked around the back. And those buildings weren't there. I think they'd been moved. I think that building's been moved forward from where back to where that was. This is all new. That's the original Assembly Hall back there. That's new. That brick building's new. Used to be an old army building we were in, but it fell apart. But there was more space between it and that one. There was an old army block where that now stands. And there was another army block. That path there ran along the front of it. And out the back there was a model aeroplane workshop. Woohoo! I like the model aeroplane workshops. These smart new buildings are nice. I like them. Now that looks like it's been moved there from somewhere else. That was built while I was here.
Yes, that was built when
We were the first people in it. They called it the Octagon, and it used to be 7980.
Is that still
Uh,
back there?
It used to be full of study cells, and we had our little cells in it, two to a room.
It used to be bright orange when we were here.
Yeah, it didn't actually work as a study unit. It turned into a chaotic DOS house. So I see now they've changed the purpose of it completely. And
Keith Parker, when filming
Yeah.
Marble Man, he used
Yeah.
the doors and,
Yeah.
and stopped photography.
Yeah.
With people coming in and out
Sure.
of different doors.
right, in fact, there was a door in the end of it, wasn't there? The door is gone.
There were fire doors on each end.
Yeah, the doors in the ends. You know, well remembered.
I was in the middle one.
Yeah. Well, it's now 2010, so that's it 30 years on. My study block was the other wing going out, second cellar long. I shared it with a guy called Benedict Smith,
Oh, I remember.
who
Yes.
was even madder than I was.
Yes, I remember.
And he blew himself up one day with gunpowder and badly injured himself.
I remember.
Yeah, that was him. He nearly burnt. His skin was all burnt and blistered on his hand. He'd been mixing gunpowder and gone off.
Because I was thinking.
Luckily, not at the school. He'd done it on a holiday break.
Holiday, yes. Okay, well I do, but I remember.
Yeah, that's not part of the school, isn't that? Something else. Where that school? Yeah. Right.
Bicycle stands.
The Octagon. Yeah.
Bicycle stands here, weren't there?
Well, I remember all this just running about. This was just running about space, really. It still is, by the looks of it.
It was tennis court, the grass tennis court.
Oh, right.
Before.
And that building there looks new. I don't remember that. That's. Yeah. Well, I had to move everyone out the main building because of health and safety. Mumble. You know what I mean? Amazing how people ever slept in these grand houses before you had health and safety. Oh, terrible. Especially the kings and queens of England. This was my study cell. There was a divider there, and we had a window each. They were really little room. What happened is you'd have a door each. I mean, it's been repartitioned, but I was there. That partition wasn't there. It was 3 feet across. We had a door. Ben Smith had this bit. His partition was here, and this was my study cell. And Rupert White, where that door is, was another study cell. They reconfigured the inside of the building, so this is sort of 1.5 study cells joined together. Used to be a corridor out the back where the photocopier is. This used to be a kitchen, and this was the main centre octagon, and there's a partition in it. It used to be just a big open space. Anthony Smith and Khalifa Al Hajj down there. David Penwell that way. Yeah, I do. I'm just trying to waste as much time as possible. We were lucky to get in here. They're just closing it down.
So when was this built?
I remember 79-ish, 78, 79-ish. So, and there it is, 30 years on.
Very old, 40 years since I
Yeah. I see, and that's the porter cabin. Thing about porter cabins, and I quite distinctly remember the 3 windows on the end, is that porter cabins are portable. You move them about, and that cabin, when we were here, used to be where that building is now. See, that cabin was there, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. That's right.
We going that way, right? And the hallowed out apartments was here.
When you came in 98?
Yeah, it was here.
Well, Lance was here then, you might remember Lance.
Lance? Yeah.
Spray.
Cool, yeah.
All right. 77, 76.
Used to be frames up before when we were here. Oh, this is pretty. Look at this.
Yes.
Yeah, it certainly smells the same. Whoa. This is worth that. This is amazing. I like this. It's worth that. Yeah. I have a picture at home of a traction engine, or a couple. Steam traction engine on the wall, and it was painted in this very room. Mr. White's office. Yeah, hasn't changed. Brilliant. This will come out. This belonged to a physics teacher called Alan Hassel, and it hasn't much changed. Solar wind turbine, whatever that is. I thought either one or the other.
Oh, that's just a little windmill
Connected
to a generator in a
I'm a windmill nut. So, and that which used to be tennis courts is now a motor mechanics workshop.
well, tennis court was down
Hooks I can see through there, but probably similar hooks that I used to hang my lab coat on all those years ago. Here's another wing round. This has changed. This is new. That used to be a series of steps that would drop down, drop down, drop down, drop down. And I used to race my radio control electric car up there, zoom, 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 vroom, straight down there. Happy memories. I must tell you about a radio control car. Obviously, I made one out of Meccano with model aeroplane wheels, motor out of an electric racing boat, and a radio we'd scrounged from a sixth former.
That's why you were here.
That's why we're here. That's the one that used to race down there. So hammering around with these things. That's kind of new. That used to be kind of a tennis court type area. That's now a car mechanics workshop. Yeah, there's a building there is new. All this is kind of rearranged.
That was geography.
That's right.
Oh, I remember this.
The 100-mile hike.
Yeah,
I was in another office here because
yeah, and that's a sports hall behind it.
David Charlton was there. It was geography.
Yeah. Oh, there used to be the music room back there, wasn't it? That where that building's done.
There was
Little music room, yeah. You'd know, you're the music bod.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember now. There was a kind of. There was one of these huts perched up in the corner there, but it's no longer. Everything does look small. That kind of throws you a bit. But yeah, this was a patch of lawn,
I remember there's been quite a large,
a bigger area. Yeah,
vast area. This is where we used to meet in the mornings. Where that would roll call.
and there was a huge tree there. Remember the big fuss made when that tree had to come down?
Oh yes, for the library.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Because that was built during our time.
Oh, that was
well.
it.
Yeah.
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 I remember. So that building was just about to go up as we were. I remember now.
Yeah.
And this then used to look down over the lawn, and
Yeah.
well, they put that building in. So there was a tree there.
Huts that used to be opposite the theatre.
Yeah.
They were only supposed to have a shelf life of about 10 years or so.
Yeah.
They were all
Buildings.
yeah,
They kept refurbishing and
40,
painting,
50
and
years later, yeah.
yeah, that's the point. They even when I was there, they made a point of
And
constantly putting stuff on them, the varnish, whatever it is, preservative,
KKP had a
kept them going. Yeah.
and he put comic characters under the
Yeah.
projector.
How was it? Oh, that was drama, wasn't it? Parker?
Keith Parker, yes.
Keith Parker.
Yes.
Remember these huge gravity go-karts we raced down there one year? That was Keith Parker.
Yeah.
And organised that, the gravity kart races.
So who was the arts teacher that we just said? Was that Lance? Or was
It was, no, I remember Mr. White. Apparently he came just after. And this used to be a boring tennis court.
Tennis court with Bradford, somebody
Yeah.
Bradford inside. Bradford.
So, now,
This must have come out because they were
Yeah.
badminton courts somewhere. Which I think
yeah.
So it's been motivated for 30 years now, I suppose, isn't it?
So this must have appeared soon after then. I was,
Very useful if you want to get your car fixed.
although I didn't have wasn't here in my day, but we'd made ourselves a little workshop up where the gardening department was. So we didn't totally lose out.
Very nice,
Yeah,
isn't it?
brilliant. Very. What they do here, all great stuff. Yeah.
And everybody in first 3 years.
Right, can do it. Because that's the thing, even if you're dyslexic, you need to keep moving forward in other areas, even if you're trying to fix your English. And, so that's why we need stuff like this. Yeah, so great to see it, really great to see it. So I like to see science, technology, solar powered with capacitors to store the energy, all good stuff. Little wind turbine there even. Design technology, make the future work. That sums it up perfect. Boats. Yeah, this is a new building. This wasn't here, but this is nice. A green power racer. Look at that. That's terrific. Yeah, to say I was involved in that, the green power, helping me get that going. Yeah, nice to see a Stanbridge Earls entry. The green power racing car,
Oh, right, yeah, of course you was.
I was connected with the guy who set it up. It's terrific to see one here, Stanbridge Earls. Yeah, that's definitely a green power motor. You can see the green power logo through there. There's the Fracmo motor. Yep, there it is. It says Fracmo on it. It's funny, when I was here at Stanbridge, I tried to build a go-kart, but we didn't have the technology really to make it work. So that's nice. And yeah, woohoo! Look at this. There's metal letters set flat into wood, different wood with carvings. King, whatever the. This is nice. It's a nice piece of thing, that. Very nice thing.
But it weighs a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, God, that's about 40 kilos. Right. The aeroplanes. There's old computers up there, Stanbridge Earls.
This costs a bomb to keep up with it. I mean,
Let's have a look at this. I've got to get this on camera. That's amazing. Woohoo. Now, if I'd made that, I'd had a little motor in it, make the prop go round. To all the old Stanbridge Earlsians who remember the old dormitories, this is a new one. It's not actually used at the moment, so it's a bit in need of some housework. It's essentially abandoned, but this is how it is. It's a modern building with modern light fittings, shower, and having said that, I'm rather privileged to say I actually did sleep in the main old house, the big house, which is now can't be slept in for health and safety reasons. You know, fire escape and all that. So this is the modern equivalent of this corridor here, and in effect takes over from the one we walked down earlier. Woohoo, this has changed. The Acropolis was there, and it's now gone, replaced by that. Oh, I think that building was there. That building in the far distance wasn't. And yeah, this is slightly new. Yeah. People who were here in my era, the Acropolis was there, and all this has actually just gone in. It's all very beautiful.
John A's house was here. Yes, right.
John Abraham's house, yes, that was him. Oh, this will be familiar to the 70s and 80s crew. Let's see, all this is new now. Yeah, this is quite new. That building is familiar, including, very carefully, the steel fire escape in the end. Yeah, that brings back memories, clanging up and down that. Just for those of us who remember the old Stanbridge Earls television room, look at this. This is what passes for a television room, is it? Oh my. Interesting method of construction. Flat plate steel with wooden stiffeners.
Okay, but not with annexes on it.
No. The one at the end has got some gap students at the moment. They may actually go back to having some.
Generally, annex houses with annexes. Oh, this has been redone. And that famous curved path that used to run round to the house.
Yeah.
Woohoo! No, this has been sort of redone. Woohoo! Yeah, this is famous. Yeah, there's the upper lake, middle lake, and lower lake. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's had a lot of work done on it, that place. Makes to be quite a. Oh, that's quite snazzy, isn't it? And there's a house covered in scaffolding, and that's where I had my school photo taken umpteen years ago, umpteen decades ago. All this is quite new, isn't it? The old metal stairs, they bring back memories. And that block was being planned when I was here. They were just planning it. That's a new metal staircase. That'll no doubt be remembered by future generations with the fondness that the other one I've just been prattling on about. That building was being planned when I was here. I remember seeing the plans on the wall. Well, there it is in 3 dimensions. That was being planned when I was here, and I remember seeing the plan on a wall somewhere. So it is new. Yeah, and it was designed to follow the looks of the dining room, which is now a nice new building. And so the architecture of the dining room is reflected in that lump there. And the dining room was moved on, left it behind. And the matron's house was down there. And I remember 2 very rusty steel beams holding that little bridge up. And I see the thing is still there, but I see it's held up by breeze blocks. So I think it's been remade since I've been here, and looks like it's going to be remade again. There's a bus. There's a school service bus. Well, we didn't have buses. We had to walk in our day. Who's got a bus? Oh, you lucky people, you. Stanbridge Earls 2011. And for those of us who remember the old dining room, look at it now. This is a big improvement on the 1980s, 70s, isn't it? We get past. This is all completely different. And you get in here. This was our original annex room where we used to queue and take our wet stuff off. And that is the original building. And suddenly it gets all familiar again. Nice move by. I'm going to making a movie of the original. Talking people through it. Yeah, this is the. Oh, they put skylights in. That's nice. And serving hatches, as per 1980s. Woohoo! So this is the original building, complete with original beams, but they put a new skin on it, a new outer skin on it. And given that the old one looked like that building over there, I'm not surprised. Oh yeah, this is familiar. The old kitchens. And you have memories of this school. This will be a real memory stirrer. This courtyard. Showers in there. Actually looks like now it's been turned into some sort of room. Showers through there. Boiler room. Bursar's office through there, which is in bits. Being refurbished. Staff only. Blue. Notice boards. This walk. The walk will be classic memories. All a bit messed up, I must confess, because of all the scaffolding. And there's the old matron's place there, with a little bridge held up by breeze blocks. And this is the dining room. My goodness, this has changed. It's the original building, but it's had a big makeover. What a pretty building it is now. Used to be just a 1970s lump. This was the dormitory. That building on the end there, the annex, was where I slept. We had a, what's it, John Chrysell was it? Brian Chrysell, I can't remember the name. And Brian just had the house, and we had the annex, which is our dormitory. And I remember a wooden rail where that wall is, because I remember coming out one morning and it was covered in snow. And I'd never really seen decent snow. And I went, yippee! And we instant major snow fight. And what I do notice though are all the metal tie bars are missing, so that's probably being rebuilt, because the history of the place is that when they built the swimming pool, they put the soil of the swimming pool there and then built the annex on it. Well, you guess what happened? Being on the hill, it started to move, so they had a job almighty pinning everything together with metal bars, trying to stop it falling apart. And I noticed the metal bars are missing, so that's probably a complete rebuild. And because there were tie bars all over it. But that old building's still there, and that's original. And then there's the bottom walk around. We must go all the way around actually.
Might as well, yes.
That's the upper lake. Memories of plenty.
I think this was the lower lake, wasn't it? Because it was the largest of the three.
Was it? Is there
And there was,
is there an upper Roro lake then?
There's a lower, a middle, and an upper. Yes.
Is it the other way
I
around?
remember doing some.
Yeah.
Because I remember. Doing
Actually,
yeah.
let's go up here.
Straight work around.
Field. And it's down there. Wheeze and puff. The only trouble is you don't run around so much as you do in your school days, and you kind of notice. And this is a warren of pathways. I remember this bridge, it's just in there, that's it. But yep, it's still there.
Chicken wire.
Overhanging trees. Is there a rope hanging from a tree? No, it's
There
overgrown.
used to be a rope hanging, yes.
Yeah, there's a rope hanging from that tree. Judging by the state of the metals, I don't think anyone spends any time here anymore. I tell you what, they're on the blooming PlayStation, that's why. You know, that's 30 years of progress, and I remember this bit well. Just used to steam up here. But yeah, I think that's it. We'll go for a long walk.
Yes.
So follow you back in. And over there, for old Stanbridge people, is Roke Manor, which is now a big electronics research place. I think at the time it was owned by the ministry. I'm not sure, I might be wrong. But it's now a big private or kind of, what's it, industrial park, technology park that deals with really difficult electronic and technology issues. If it's difficult, they'll do it, sort of thing, you know. And they used to get complaints in assembly that people have been riding around Roke Manor and riding around all the buildings and fiddling with all the stuff they had. And the Ministry of Defence generally don't like that. Yeah. And I can't think why, but they just don't. And here's the top field. So, and yeah, if you look up on the internet, Roke Manor are quite a big kind of technology thing, and of course they're unfortunate enough to be backed up right to next to a school full of mischievous, curious schoolboys.
I remember a car got nicked while I was here.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think the guy got expelled.
Oh, yeah, I think you would really. Track. Talk about memories. That pavilion's the same, it's been painted, but it's the same building. New dining room, and it used to look like that building there. And the irony is that building was made like that to copy the architecture of the dining room. So of course the dining room's moved on and left that thing looking like
It was funny, wasn't it? Because it was considered state of the art at the time, but very quickly that state of the art.
it was
fashion.
considered futuristic and
Yes.
minimalist and all the rest of it. Now it just looks like a nuclear field dump or a poodle euthanasia centre or something else equally sort of functional and a bit unpleasant.
We used to have Stanbridge Fate.
Yeah, we didn't.
These
At
trees
that
are-
far corner I had a fake one, yeah, and I just had tables laid out with all sorts of electronic junk that people would try and electrocute themselves with. I thought was very futuristic.
Yeah.
Well, there's a beautiful Stanbridge Earls house. Well, as you can see, the builders have been let loose on it. So, Apparently it'll be even more beautiful when they finish, which is good news really, because nice to see it under restoration. This is the old television room. Television used to be far corner there. Used to be full of seats. Funny enough, there's a flat screen thing there. I don't know why it's stuck there. What use it'll be pointing out to the corridor.
I don't remember there being a loo there. I remember there being a door.
There was a door there. That wasn't a loo. It was something else.
I remember lying there and watching TV
Mm-hmm.
taken, and people more like just slid across the floorboards and just kicked me in the nuts.
Oh right. That's fine old panel room. I remember having talks in here with the headmaster and stuff.
It was well, but when I first came, it was just a walk through into the main house, and,
Yeah.
and then they boarded it off and made it into the staff common room.
Oh right.
And I suppose in that sense, it meant that it preserved.
Did help keep it better.
Yeah.
I remember the ceiling fell in several times, and judging by the staining on it, that does appear to that problem probably hasn't quite gone away. Maybe there's a bog or something up there, and the boys keep over flooding it. But all very well. Have a look at these
There was
lists.
a companion painting as well
Yeah.
with Erica.
Yeah.
And they actually, to raise money, they made prints,
All right.
and people could buy. John Larter.
Yeah. John Larter is. Oh, there's John Larter.
Yep.
There's Keith Parker with the beard. Yeah.
John and Marjorie. Oh, I'm going to have to. I've
Yeah.
got John's on Facebook.
That's-
I'm going to have to.
Brian Kreisel.
Yep.
Now, so that is our year. Do you recognise anyone? That's probably Marcus Gage up there.
Marcus.
That one there. That was Stuart Allen.
Stuart Allen. I remember Stuart Allen.
I think that it might even be my year, so I'm well.
Cara
in-
Hawkes.
Yeah.
Matron. Daphne Clark.
Yeah, Daphne Clark. Whoa.
Um,
She was my English teacher.
who's on the bottom? Yes, there's Mark Tingley. So this is your year. This is my
Yeah.
second year. So
Mark-
this is your first year. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
Mark Tingley, right in the middle there.
Yeah.
There he is, just there. I don't think. Yeah, right under Brian Kreisel. So,
Mr. Martin. He had polio, didn't he? Or he was
Yeah, Mr. Martin, he did. You know that long corridor in the main house, right at the end, that door at the end was his bed sit.
And this was the English teacher from Zimbabwe, Rhodesia.
Reese.
Yeah,
There's
he's
Mr.
Zimbabwe.
Reese is there. Mr.
Mr.
Reese
Reese.
is there. Can't remember his first name. He was my maths teacher.
The maths teacher, yes,
Yeah.
I remember. Oh, Ruth and Mike Thurger.
Yeah.
Mike was history. Ruth.
Yeah, he was my Sea House leader as well. And
Carl Skov Nielsen.
oh, he's there, is he? Remember Carl? Well, that's my year. I just can't see me.
David Small.
Oh yeah, David Small. He's a. Charles Winter wouldn't be in that. He was a year.
I think he was a year
ahead.
before. Yeah. Yeah.
I was quite tall as a kid though, so I would have been in the back row.
I think it's me. I think.
Yeah.
I think so. Cheeky chappy with all that hair.
Suresh Mathur, the.
Suresh Mathur, yeah, with his wife. I can't remember his.
I don't think he's in there though.
No, he was the year before. He left.
Mm-hmm. I've been in the back row somewhere, but do you remember him? I remember him, but I can't remember his name.
Oh,
Quite striking, quite actually memorable look. You know, short hair.
I remember, but I
Like
can't
tall,
remember his
lean.
name. Yeah, I do remember an awful lot of these faces.
But,
What a tart I was. I've got this handkerchief stuck in my pocket.
oh right.
Nobody else had a handkerchief. I just wanted to be different.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, mate.
yeah. I was quite a knob actually.
What's that about Andrew Parker's sister? Where is that? Is that her there? Is it?
That's Andrew Parker's sister. Yeah.
What's her name? Andrew Parker.
That's Dorothea Westmacott.
Yeah. There's a Janine in there somewhere, probably.
Yeah, there's Anna Tyler.
Right.
Anna.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember her surname. Oh, Crikey. I do feel for the girls because there were so many of us, and
Yeah,
you know, sort of guys with hormones raging.
yeah. Looking quite overwhelming. And I've just had a name come to me, William Aslett.
Will Aslett, yes, Will Aslett was he was the guy that starred in Marvel Man. He was Marvel Man,
Was he?
and he's the one that went on to drama school. But I don't know which one he went to.
That name's just come out now, and I've been trying to remember it because he was one of our little gang, but he's the one person of the little gang that I couldn't remember until now. It's just happened. William Aslett.
He registered.
This is my last year. Camera won't pick them up, so I'll read them. Khalifa Al-Hajj, Frederick Allen, Stuart Allen, William Aslett, Peter Brady Shallums, Clive Burke, don't know who he is, William Byrne, Justin Godfrey Smith, Andrew Courtney, Lucy Cramond, William Dre, Farashadi Shraggy, he was the one who had really wealthy, Charles Fremantle, Marcus Gage. Yeah, see you guys.
Yes, lovely to see you, Simon. Yes, I mean, see you come
See
again.
you.
I mean, it's
Yes,
fun.
welcome.
Yeah, I mean, it's how you made it.
Janine Cohane, Fiona Lloyd,
And Hester.
Stephen Lloyd,
Yeah, that was Lucy. That
Yeah.
was Lucy.
Lucy there, yeah.
Yeah.
Fiona MacDonald, Richard McHenry, he was from America, Charles Martin, Michael Matthews, I remember him well, as do Chris Medak down there.
Chris Medak. Yeah, he went on to direct.
Did he?
He went to the States to go on in his father's footsteps
Yeah.
as a film director.
Right.
Peter Medak was
Yeah, that's
his
it.
father.
William Nagel. William Nagel, is that guy on the, looks a bit like the tennis player,
Yes,
Spanish tennis player? I think it might well be.
Well, the thing is, it's a shame these photographs don't have names.
No, David Penwell, he's someone I'm trying to track down.
Yes.
Richard Perry, Jonathan Petrie. Remember Jonathan Petrie? He tested the mains lead by putting it in his mouth because, well, if it worked for batteries, then he zapped himself something terrible. But he did live, though perhaps did deserve to. Michael Ramsey, act of stupidity. Michael Ramsey, I remember him. Gary, I remember Gary. Gary Ribbeck, Charles Sichel, Kalsko Nielsen, David Small, he actually lived not far. Anthony Smith, Benedict Smith, he was my cellmate, study mate. Graham Smith, Gary Speaker, over there, hello. David Stewart Smith, David Townsend. Do you know, amazing that he lived in the same village I did?
Really?
And we had a shot when we discovered that. David Waghorn, Sandra Ward, Gareth West. Remember Gareth West? He was a bit crazy. Rupert White.
Rupert, yeah.
I shared the fourth form cell with him.
Really?
Yeah, I'd like to track him down, but no sign yet. Paul Isher, Malcolm Barber, Angus Bush, Terence Buxton, Peter Carr, Alan Clark, Dalrymple, Michael Dalrymple, I remember him, Christopher Davis, Jeremy Evans, Patrick Fellows, Hannah Forbes, Alexander Foster, James French, Mariam Gilks, Charles Goodwin, Hugo Jacobs, Sean Kent, Adam Lee, Alfred Larita, Jonathan Lodge, Adrian McInerney.
Oh, Adrian McInerney, he was the photography chap.
Was he? So, John Mayers, Robert Mayers, Benjamin Nicholson, Kevin O'Hara, Julia Parker. Was that Andrew Parker's,
Andrew Parker's
sister?
Yeah, I
Charles
seen some
Raymond.
communication with Andrew, but I've lost contact.
I would like to catch up with him actually very much. If
With
he could,
Andrew?
yeah, I
Yes.
would.
Still in Jersey. He was running a chocolate shop last time.
Oh, I'd really like to catch up with him actually, because he was sort of next door, cell block next door.
Yeah.
Timothy Sayers, Alexander Scriven, Caroline Sutton, Jolie T. I remember it as Caroline Button for some reason. Mark Tingley, we're in touch with him.
Yep.
George Windsor Aubrey, that name was mentioned earlier.
The name rings a bell. Yeah.
Jane Wood, Henry Woods. What's
Adam Lee, he was shared a dorm with Adam Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh right.
we can flick through a couple of these, can't we? There's
Andrew, yeah, I'm just making a record of these. Matthew Best, Stuart Briggs, Richard Burleston, Alexander Cook, Adrian Cook, Simon Crawford, Simon Duratel, Jonathan Evans, Paul Foster, Michael Fredge, Charles Grace, Scott Hardy, Francis Rolt, Naradin Hussain, Alexander Joint, Fabrizio Kalahari, that sounds great, Kalahari, Anthony Lawson, and I think we're, whoops, coming off the scale, hang on. Was this my year for prizes? Junior art was Julia Parker, Andrew's brother. Senior pottery, Charles Winter, I remember him. Most promising potter of the year, Rupert White. I shared a fourth form study cell with him. Instrumental music, Tim Sherlock, Robert Harvey, I remember well. Peter White. Was he Rupert's brother, I wonder? David Mayer Williams, Mark Abraham, we know. Tim Sayers. Tim was in my dormitory. I'm glad that was there because I've got a second name now, Tim Sayers. James Brandt. Junior physics. It's funny I'm not in there. Roland Lloyd is mentioned, as is Richard Penwell. Cox Prize, whatever that is.
That was, wasn't that some sports?
Yeah. So now I must read this because I took part in this. It's our custom every 2 to 3 years to attempt to send a whole school home in the end of term or half term, the state of absolute exhaustion. This helps convince parents their offspring have actually done some work. Thus, one morning before the October half-term holiday, 165 pupils assembled for breakfast, with much eye rubbing at 5 a.m. In fact, it was so damn cold that when they put the dishwasher on, it was a glass-fronted dishwasher, the hot water hit the glass with an almighty bang, and that was it, no glass. So, only the most senior boys had ever taken part before. That would have been you, because you had done it before. There were surprisingly few protests and much eager anticipation of the start. The whole group was then deposited in the middle of the New Forest, remember that, and told to walk the 31 miles back to Stanbridge by supper time.
Yeah,
The weather was an invigorating downpour which not only dampened enthusiasm but dissolved route sheets. The ford in Brockenhurst was waded almost unnoticed by many, but as dawn broke the weather cleared. Soon stream was unnoticed. Steam was rising from sodden clothing as the pace quickened and the miles clocked by. So fast was the pace at this stage that our mobile soup dispenser arrived in position after the majority had already been. I do remember I think Roland Lloyd and the deaf kid ran it.
yes.
Actually ran the whole distance and then steamed on. They were, dear old camera's run out of steam. Yeah, it has.